Today's episode of the Influencer Empires podcast is brought to you by the Empire Program with White Label Suite, powering our influencers and building their empires. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us here on the show at Influencer Empires. Today, we have the unbelievable privilege of standing next to someone who lives, eats, sleeps, and breathes the relationships that are needed to grow that kind of following in the influencer space. She has come straight out of college and is now working for one of the best known companies in the world, following in the legacy of the great John Ruhlin. She is the Community Relationship Strategist and the head of the R.I.C.H Relationship Society over at Giftology. And it gives me great pleasure to welcome to the show Miss Sara Hardwick. Sara, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me. And what a great intro. That's so fun.
So there's probably a ton of stuff that we've missed from that intro, but I've got a couple of little stories. So one of them is that you have this incredible position at Giftology because you were in college and you were Googling gift giving companies and ended up working for the same brand. Is that right?
That is correct. I mean, shout out to Giftology's SEO, right? That was the first thing that popped up. But yeah, I was at a career seminar in college. My best friend Chloe nudged me, encouraged me, if you will, to Google. The exercise was like, Google something that you're really good at, put the word company behind it. And Chloe's like, Google gift giving companies, like, not math or anything, the little bit more of the boring side, which probably I would have leaned myself. Gift giving companies, Giftology came up. I
Wow.
messaged John Ruhlin on LinkedIn, and the rest is history. Started working there in college, graduated, and still am here today.
Amazing, amazing. So messaging John, I mean, what an incredible testament to who the man was that he responded, you engaged, and ended up working there. Tell me about the leadership. So the great John Rowland passing away last year was an incredible shock for so many people around the world. But tell me about the engagement with John. Tell me about his leadership and who he was to you.
Oh, well, just how he ran his company. I mean, he ran it like he ran his family, right? Like so caring, so thoughtful, so meaningful with your time. And I think as employees, as individuals that are entering into the workforce, that's something we all look for, but unfortunately is not found in every single leader. Just a few things about Giftology Group that John used to always talk about as he led this organization, like we have some date nights paid for us and our significant other, right? We work from home. So a lot of us working from home, they pay for a cleaning service to come in a couple times a month, right? Those are the things also when we talk about relationships, those are the things that you remember about people that show that you truly, truly care. And John, as a leader and a boss, like showed up in so many ways like that, apart from the gifting, which of course he did that too, to just truly set the groundwork for a company now that lives on in his legacy. And still, we have so much meaning and heart behind it.
Wow, that's so unbelievably cool. Like that, I've never heard of anything like that where the engagement at the employee level you just being looked after and made to feel special.
Absolutely. I mean, and those are the things people talk about over, you have to have the 401(k) and all this other stuff, but that's the type of things that keeps employees engaged and excited and showing up in those really hard moments for their leader, for their employer. It's like I feel seen. I feel like I'm more than just a number, an employee. I'm a human being.
Wow.
And I think that leadership is just something that I'm so grateful to have experienced in John and continue to experience in the leadership here at Giftology.
And it's such a legacy that carries on. And of course, we can't speak about the legacy of Giftology without talking about the book, the last book, as John released, and it's available everywhere.
Yeah.
But it's beyond Giftology. It's the book that is taking that one step further. Tell us about your experiences there.
Yeah, I mean, what really got me on board with the mission when I first started looking into giftology and John was his first book, Giftology, with which a ton of people know and love, and really turned into kind
Set
of
the scene.
like disrupt a lot of businesses thinking about how they were showing up meaningfully for their clients, their employees, those key relationships with gifting. No more gift baskets, no more branded things, like show up meaningfully. What that book captured was that mindset shift of gifting, but really the heart of what John always preached and thought and what our business stands for is that relationships can take you places marketing can't. That, yes, absolutely, gifting is a vehicle that you can invest in those relationships. But really, there's a lot of other elements to this kind of relationship formula, if you will, to running a service-based business, a small, like anything that you are relying on human to human connection for, beyond giftology, goes beyond just the gifting concepts and really breaks down a word of mouth referral strategy for people to plug into their business.
Wow. And I think there's so many businesses around that rely on that word of mouth strategy. I mean, I stood in a room. I was teaching advertising or something along that line, and asking people what's their main form of inbound leads right now, and they all literally all said word of mouth. So taking this strategy into that environment really works as an accelerator. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think what's funny about that, right? Like so many businesses spend so much time developing this really intricate marketing plan. And then we have a sales system and we have this over here. And it comes back typically for a lot of small business owners, a lot of service-based business professionals that they do rely on word of mouth, but we don't have a system for it. We don't have a
Mm.
lever. We don't actually sit down and think about who are the 10, 20, 30 relationships that I need to meaningfully touch on, transform all those things this year so that my business can grow. Like we know that word of mouth matters, we know that relationships matter, but we don't have a system to actually energize those relationships into referral partners.
And talking of a system, so that's something that a business owner can depend on, sorry, that can work every time, that works without having to think about it. So,
Yeah.
turning the thought of gifting into a
Yeah.
system is a fascinating change for me, because it's something that businesses just wouldn't typically think about. And can you tell me, just give me a story or two about how turning that into a system has helped people to expand on this idea?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, unfortunately, even though there's a lot of people out there, a lot of business leaders out there that mean well and are innately great relationship builders, in the busyness of everything that we do, the relationship ball typically is the thing that drops, right?
Mm,
We mean to show up for this person, we mean to call them this day, but it just doesn't end up happening, especially those relationships that aren't top of mind. I'm not serving them as a client right now. I'm not selling their house right now, but those relationships that maybe are past clients or network connections, those are the people that can refer you business. Those are the people that are out in the community that can talk highly of you. And we
mm.
still need a way to stay in front of those people. So, from a gifting perspective, I mean, I think going back to your question, a lot of people kind of react in gifting. Something happens, a transaction happens, and they send a gift or they meet with someone and they send a gift. Our philosophy in really building a system around this stuff is this isn't this random thing that we should be doing. There's a lot of planning and we say planned randomness to it. Yes, we want the gift to show up on a random Tuesday to the recipient and they're like, wow, Walt was thinking of me today. But little do they know, we have a whole system in the background that makes sure you never are forgotten as a relationship of this business leader.
Wow, cool. And is that something that you do at Giftology? You literally help that business owner create that planned randomness. I love that term. Are you working with a business owner every single time somebody starts with Giftology? They're sitting down and they're working through that strategy. And in fact, as the community relationship strategist, is that your role within the company?
Absolutely. Inside of our community, inside Rich Relationship Society, we really are set on creating these business leaders' relationship formula.
Wow.
Absolutely. Gifting is a very variable in your formula, one that we love, but there's a lot of other elements, touch points, conversations, better questions you can be asking, right? That should be a part of your relationship formula to grow your
Mm,
business in that way. And that's exactly the people that we surround you with inside of the community, the course that we have in there, the coaching, all has this relationship slant of
mm.
how can you grow your business in this way.
Wow, amazing. So one of the things that we talk about often is reaching your ideal client. Is there a link between opening a relationship with a gift? I mean, if we have a look at so many different ways of starting relationships with new business opportunities, it typically starts with cold outreach. It's a never before heard of connection. How does that move into a gift giving scenario, and how does that help somebody cement that in place?
Yeah. Well, you may be surprised by this or disappointed, and some people listening may be disappointed, but we kind of do not recommend cold gifting. While
Mm,
definitely there's a place for it, it can be fun sometimes and it works sometimes. There's a lot of time, energy, effort that is associated with finding the right person to send to, finding the right address, finding the right gift to send. If it lands poorly, you're not going to get them. Like all of those things actually slow down the efficiency of this system that we are trying to propel forward. So the way that we like to get your quote unquote cold introductions is look for a referral partner into that person. We call
mm,
them a shoulder industry partner. So you understanding your ideal client is great, but who else touches that ideal client? Who
nice.
else works with that ideal client? It's not necessarily a competitor, right? Like if you are a real estate agent and you want to work with luxury homeowners, are they working out with personal trainers who come over every day? Are they a part of a luxury golf club nearby? Like those are the relationships that you want to build to get introduced to your ideal client. You don't have to go in cold.
Wow, that's so cool. And it actually aligns with what we talk about in the influencer model as well. Thinking about who already has your audience and building the relationship with that person right at the top there, who can then reach so many thousands of other people who are right there in your space. Super cool. I love that. So when we're looking at gifting as a strategy, how do you know when a relationship is ready to go into that gifting role?
Yeah, probably one of the main ways you know it's ready to be a gifting type of relationship is if you have enough information about that person. All of the gifts that we send have the recipient's family name on it. Typically, that's inclusive of the person you're talking to and their spouse's name. So if you haven't gotten in conversation at all, or maybe can't even find it online, their spouse's name, that's probably not a relationship that you're ready to really take that next step and invest in. Also, their address sounds silly, but if you haven't crossed that point yet, that this person has felt comfortable sharing their address or you haven't felt comfortable asking for it, that's kind of halts our system altogether and probably is a telltale sign for you that it's not ready to gift. But I will say, while I'm saying like, don't cold gift and maybe some people aren't ready for a gift, we absolutely still encourage generosity. So if you
Right.
feel like you want to give someone something, please do. There's a lot of other ways also to demonstrate value in relationships that maybe aren't as expensive or feel like as serious as a gift does. You can send a handwritten note, right? Those small things also matter so much to building relationships. And I think those things also in the influencer space probably make you stand out so much more
Yeah.
because everything's digital. Like, what if you just sent a handwritten thank you note instead of a handwritten or instead of a DM thank you, right?
Makes such an amazing difference. And in fact, the psychology of the person receiving the gift is something that I know that Giftology has spent a long time looking at. Like, can you walk us through how does how does somebody who wants to send that gift, even if it is something small and thoughtful, how do they make sure that they land? You used that phraseology before. How do they make sure they land not just functionally but emotionally?
Yeah. One of the key components of that is where the gift lands, where you are sending the gift. So we always try our best to get the home address because we want people to, the psychology of this is like there's also an element of what state of mind they are in when they open it, where they are when they open it could affect, even though it has nothing to do with you or your gift that you sent, it then could affect your relationship with that person. So we want to always send it at home, not tied to work. If they had a rough day and they came out of a meeting and then opened your gift and it was not good, right? We want this to be an experience. And even more so than that, we want this gift to create a peak moment for them. That's the psychology behind it. We want that moment of opening that gift to be something that they can come back to and remember about your guys' relationship. Even when business gets hard, or maybe you guys haven't talked in 2 years, right? Sometimes you'll always remember, wow, I remember when so and so sent me this.
Wow.
And those peak moments are really what gifting the Giftology way creates.
That's amazing because thinking about getting attention is, I guess, the piece of marketing that so many people struggle with is getting that attention, but keeping that memory, that remembrance, keeping top of mind. Wow, like the long lasting effect of that is it goes so far beyond a Zoom call, so far even beyond a coffee meeting. Like it's something that stays with people for so much longer. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're going down the whole giftology checklist here because another one
Perfect.
of our key principles is that the gift should be a practical luxury. So something that they use every day so that they stay top of mind, right? Like if I'm in my kitchen every day cooking for my family and I'm using the knife that you sent me, I'm thinking of you, even though your brand logo isn't on it or anything, I'm subconsciously thinking of you in some way every single day. And that's why we really encourage gifts that land and live in the center of the home, that are for the whole family, that help people break bread together, and not something, that's going to go in the corner of somebody's office or worse, in the trash.
Wow, amazing. Thinking about that specifically, I know there's a great quote which says if you send a gift with your brand on it, it's marketing, but if you send a gift with their name on it, that's gifting. So thinking about that, the even just voicing that out loud, a gift that lands in the center of the home that the family engages with and keeps that relationship moving. It's so incredible. Thinking about that, Sarah, are there mistakes that people make with gifting that can actually sour things somewhat?
Yeah, I think the biggest one honestly falls in the category of food. Even today, food and consumables and alcohol, because I mean, the gifting philosophy and why we don't do that is it doesn't last, right? Once someone eats it, then they don't think of you anymore. Once they finish that bottle of wine, they don't think of you anymore. But the sour side of things really there is so many people are gluten free. So many people, right? Like maybe they have a history of substance abuse or something you don't know about them and are now entering into their home with something that may actually come off a little offensive, or even not that, but just like, wow, you actually don't know me that well.
Wow.
And that does not help in that relationship capital building at all. So we try to encourage people to stay away from food, stay away from alcohol. There's just too many risks involved, unless you surely know that somebody mentioned they love sharing an X bottle of wine with their wife and you want to gift that to them. But on a larger scale, that's kind of the one rule of thumb to stay away from.
Yeah, that's nice. That's awesome. I think I'd love to dive in a little bit in terms of the relationship side of things in a digital world that we live in now, and especially, forgive me, but somebody who is in the Gen Z space. How do you find that the relationship um, I guess attraction and momentum that's created with Giftology. How do you find that fits within our digital world today, and for our younger audiences who are fast paced and moving quickly? How does that all fit into philosophy and strategy and the feelings that you have in that kind of world?
It's huge. I've seen it firsthand. Yes, you're right. I am in Gen Z, so I understand the digital world that we all live in, are obsessed with. Our work is on it. Like everything revolves around social media, online presence. Like I get it. LinkedIn, right? You're told like everything. If you're looking for even a typical corporate job, like LinkedIn's the place. I totally go the other way. I think the way you are able in this world now to build relationships offline is absolutely your strongest asset. Yes, have an online presence. Yes, have all these things, but it's going to be those little moments where you do show up on offline that make you stand out. I mentioned earlier the handwritten notes piece. Like everyone's sending emails, everyone's sending text. What if you showed up with a handwritten note instead of an
Wow.
email?
Yeah.
It's that little touch that will always make you stand out. I used to walk around networking events where everyone was handing out their business card and everyone was handing out resumes. And I used to pick the 5 people that I wanted to build a relationship with most, go into a little corner. I had handwritten notes in my bag, write out those notes to the people and go back and give them that. I'm sure, I don't have any metrics on
Wow,
this,
that's actually that's so ninja, that strategy.
right? Thanks. But I mean, that I'm sure got me a lot more calls or interviews or podcasts or whatever you are looking for than me following them on Instagram, than me connecting with them on LinkedIn. So I think that now more than ever, actually, our generation, Gen Z, should really like hone in on their ability to build relationships offline. Have a little something in your back pocket that you can always whip out, and it's kind of like your secret strength, handwritten notes. I send video messages all the time. That was John's specialty. Copied
Mm.
him on that one. Instead of a phone call or something like that, like I'm gonna send you a video text message and show up that way. So there's a lot of relational touch points that will stand out in this online world for sure.
Unreal. Oh, speaking of touch points, I was at a marketing conference just a few days ago, and they were talking about the fact that the touch points have increased so dramatically from in a creation of trust. So it
Mm.
used to be that you needed 4 touch points to be able to make a sale. Now, what people are talking about is there's 22 touch points, and that shows such a I guess displacement of trust. So there's a real trust deficit in marketing and in people showing up in all your feeds, etc. That trust needs to be enhanced by so much more activity in the space. How do you see that gifting fits into that multiple touch points and trust pace? I'm going to kind of preface it by thanking it accelerates the heck out of it, but I just love your take on it.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think that gifting probably takes up a few emails, t calls, like, right, like that is a couple of touch points in itself. You get extra brownie points for the gifting and the gift showing up. But what I would also say in the heart of what we do in relationship building and using your network, especially when it comes to this element of trust is transferred. And if that is something that you can utilize, the people in your corner, the raving fans that you have, to get introduced again to your ideal client, to someone else that you're looking to work with, to a potential partner,
Yeah.
that's where I think trust like is the most valuable, is in the people that are willing to advocate for you, not just in building trust, to a client or to a prospect, but really building trust around you so that can be transferred. And hopefully, then you're not running around crazy sending 20 emails, 20 touch points, all the things when trying to close a sale.
Yeah, definitely. And I love that trust is transferred. And in terms of gifting, I mean, it's something so unique and so special to be able to send something, but also, as a recipient, to be able to get something so special really does change things. And taking that forward, you can see how that trust really comes across with that thoughtful notion. And of course, as you said, not randomized, but strategic in the way that's being done. I'd love to ask you some interesting gift scenarios that you've seen. What's the most unexpectedly meaningful gift you've seen sent personally?
Oh gosh. Well, I just sent a one of my colleagues that I work with is a big New England Patriots fan. I've known this for a while. And I was actually able through a few friends, which I'm really, really grateful for, able to get him a signed New England Patriots jersey.
Wow.
Um, Now, these are right, these are those off moments that you're creating these really peak meaningful moments for people, not at scale or not because of any outcome in relationship, but truly just because you care. And I care about this team member so, so much. This gift took a while to, get the jersey, get where it needed to go and all the things. But that's a story that now I will hold so close. One of our
It's
other
a relationship for life for sure. Like
yeah,
that's
absolutely. One of our other team members, just talking about John again, shared in Austin, Texas, when we were launching this final book, Beyond Giftology. That one time she was on the phone with John talking about how annoying it was for her to juice for her family and have to clean all the pieces after. And the juicer she had so many parts, and she's right, all those things. And that complaint then sparked him to send her a new, better, updated, all the things juicer. So I
Wow.
think when it comes to creating those peak moments, it's really about active listening as much as like we've all heard this as a really great communication tool, but it really is the first step in what then can spark those really amazing, amazing stories on the
Yeah.
gift side.
Amazing. And so those stories are so wow, like the jersey. I mean, that's above and beyond. As businesses are growing, it's fascinating to me, Sarah, to think that this personalized approach to gifting can grow with the business. How does a business gift at scale without losing its soul?
Mm, without losing its soul. I've never had the question asked like that before, Walt. My quick answer and easy answer would be they use us. They work with us. They
Nice,
collaborate
beautiful
with
plug. That's
us.
great. I mean, of course. Yeah, absolutely.
Truly what our team does day in and day out is they take large lists of relationships from huge companies all the way down to a small business owner who has 20 key relationships, right? With their addresses, and we build out that gifting strategy that gets sent out at scale in mass, so that nobody needs to go to UPS themselves and make sure everything is engraved correctly and all those things. Like that truly is how we do it at scale. Now, inside of our Rich Relationship Society community, these are all small business owners who are creating systems to do these things efficiently themselves, to do these things at scale themselves. Going back to the handwritten note, we tell people all the time, you can bulk write your handwritten notes and leave a little space at the bottom. Make sure you always have that pen that you wrote with, right? But like leave a little space at the bottom. That's where you add in the last sentence that really makes it personal and meaningful. But ultimately, there's a lot of things that we can do to systematize this relationship building process that we just don't sit down and actually think about.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess the question's a little bit convoluted because you're talking about the special relationships and making sure that it's something unique and personal. And of course, in the influencer space, we interviewed one of our influencers just recently who has nearly 1 billion views on YouTube. That's a
Wow.
heck of a lot of handwritten notes. But we're talking about
Yeah.
those key strategic VIPs that can take that relationship up to the next level, being able, as we mentioned, getting hold of the person who can introduce you to that next level. So that's one gift or one touch point that can then flow down to that audience, which is very, very cool. So,
Yeah.
Sarah, if I had to ask you, so let me just put a scenario in front of you, and then we'll talk about the Beyond Giftology, which I'd love to do a little bit. If you, I'm sure that everybody listening is going, I'm in, I want to create those relationships, expand my network, increase my touch, increase my trust. I'm in, I want to do it. If a business owner right now had just $50 to spend on a VIP client, how would you suggest that they spend that in the best possible and most personal way?
I would suggest a low cost demonstration of value like a handwritten note, unless you
Nice.
know something about that individual where you really think like this is, I call them relational golden nuggets, right? Like this is a relational golden nugget. They told me this one time over coffee and I remembered it. And you
Mm,
can show up in that really meaningful way. I'm always going to revert back to the handwritten note that I don't know what that looks like in Australia, postage wise and all the things, but 75 cents over here-ish. So that's
yeah, so
something
it's
that,
about the same here. I mean, it's you
okay.
still got change out of your 50, so you're pretty
Yeah,
good.
exactly, exactly. And I think there are so many ways that even don't cost a dime for us to still show up and add value to our relationships. We can introduce them to somebody as well, even if it's not a professional introduction, not a
Mm.
professional referral. You hear that, they have a couple kids at home and they're wanting to go on a date night with their spouse soon. Recommend a babysitter. Put them in a
Wow,
three-way text
that's such
message
a
with a
nice touch.
babysitter. Those small things, I think, matter so much more. And John always used to say this, it truly is not about the gift. It's not at all. The gift that you send doesn't matter. It does a little, but it's truly about the relationship. The gift is just a vehicle for building that relationship, and there's a lot of other vehicles as well.
That's so cool. How does somebody get started with Giftology? In the easiest way, you're mentioning the community there, and you guys have got some incredible business owners there, the Rich Relationship Society. Is there a way that people can get started with Giftology easily? They don't have to get into a billion-dollar campaign with you, although I'm sure that that's possible as you're going through. But how do they get started with you in the most cost-effective and easiest way to get started?
Yeah, start with our education. Buy Beyond Giftology, the book. Buy Giftology, John's first book, and just dive in and understand our philosophy. If it speaks to you, there's plenty of opportunities to kind of step up that thinking, step up those systems inside of Rich Relationship Society. And that's where we have a lot of service-based business professionals, small business owners, salespreneurs that are looking to really level up and systematize their relationship formula. If you do, like you said, want to spend $1 billion on gifts, we're also the people for that. But I think people just getting started and really having a different mindset around relationships, around gifting, its power can be done starting in reading our books.
Nice. I love it. And so moving from Giftology, which was John's book, and honestly, a disruptive book, as you said. He was
Yeah.
really the icebreaker for this philosophy and definitely leading the charge. So Giftology, opening that idea for so many business owners, so many entrepreneurs, so many salespeople to lead the way with gifting, and he will always be remembered for that. Going into that last book, Beyond Giftology, tell me about the team now in memory of John and the Beyond Giftology book that's now available for sale, and how the team have rallied behind getting that message out into the marketplace.
Oh, I cannot say more good things about our team. I am so grateful to work alongside and be supported by all of the amazing people in this organization. It truly was a team effort getting this to the finish line. There's a lot of specific people who absolutely know how much they mean to us, and the relationships that supported us along the way. I think that's just a testament to everything that we even teach in the book. Like your legacy, the people that you impact, those are the people that show up for you in those hard moments. And John impacted so many people, including his own team, his staff, us here at Giftology, that during this hard period and making sure this book got to the finish line. I mean, everyone stepped up, long hours, blood, sweat, and tears, all the things. And I'm just grateful that I can be here, at least speaking that same philosophy that I know John would be doing so much better than me, by the way, to a larger audience, and just really allowing people to understand that there is a better way to do business and that relationships can take you places marketing can't.
Nice, I love it. And is there a goalpost for the distribution of the book? Have you got a number up on the wall somewhere that you're working towards? How many copies are we looking to get out there?
I do not have a number on the wall. Thankfully, again, so grateful for our team. I definitely have now been swept out of some of that book focus and am on to Rich Relationship Society and growing our community and our membership because we are just so excited about that. So I'm sure there's some team members, if you guys are listening to this, that have a number that might definitely be sitting on their whiteboard somewhere in their home office. But again, so grateful that we have a team that's behind that, and it's not me because I would not be doing the best job.
I'm sure John would disagree. But so, guys, if you as you're listening, you can help the team hit that number just by checking out Beyond Giftology at your favorite bookstore. Sarah, so you don't have the number on the wall of the book distribution, but you are working, as you said, hard in that the Rich Relationship Society, and as your specific role with the Community Relationship Strategist there at Giftology. What is your I guess let's talk company wise. What will we see on the horizon for Giftology? What will we see you guys doing?
Yeah, I think really broadening our scope of education and this idea of return on relationship. That's something that John mentioned in his first book, Giftology, but has really taken a new shape in Beyond Giftology and also in our Rich Relationship Society about how
Mm.
can we truly help business owners not just gift, because we've always been great at that, we will continue to be great at that, but truly get the most out of the relationships that they have built. We have so many people that have such vast networks. They've been going to networking events forever. They've had multiple careers, but they just really truly haven't been able to energize those networks into something meaningful for their business. And we feel very passionately about we have the playbook for how you can do that. And we just want to help as many service business professionals that we can do just that. It feels good also to be in business with friends, to have relationships as a strategy in your business, right? To me personally, it's a lot less tiring. I'm very energized talking to people, Walt. I hope you can see that. It's
Yeah.
a lot less tiring than building all the funnels and making sure the ads are perfect and all the things, right? So I think there's a lot of people, business leaders out there that feel the same, and we just hope to come in, support them, and hopefully grow their business with them.
Fantastic. Well, let's make sure that that's possible. What's the best way for people to get involved with Giftology, Sarah, and follow along with you personally? I'm seeing, you're getting a nice following there on your own Instagram accounts and a few things there. So, what's the best way for people to keep in touch with you? And as you're developing the channels there with Giftology, how are people going to stay in touch there?
Yeah, well, since we kind of like, have taken this stance of like against social media and offline, I really stay away from Instagram, but LinkedIn is the place that anybody can find me. Sara Hardwick on LinkedIn. I'm all about relationships, so would love to connect with anyone listening that's interested in learning more. But we also can be found at giftologygroup.com. That will point you in the right direction of anywhere you need to go, whether it's buying the book, joining Rich Relationship Society, or thinking about gifting with us.
Absolutely amazing. So cool, you guys. And in today's digital world, that special touch, that trust transfer, as Sarah was talking about, can be something that can be built with the help of Giftology, with the strategy that goes behind that. That's going to ensure that your communication, your networks, and your relationships are continuing to be developed. We often talk about ROI, and I love the return on relationships as an idea, and the joy, as you said, man. As a marketer myself, the joy of creating a relationship rather than creating a funnel, man, that goes without saying, right? It's real hard to have a barbecue with a funnel. So it's so nice to hear this message, Sarah, and of course, taking John's legacy forward, that beyond giftology, starting with giftology, opening the door to relationships through the power of gifting, and then on and beyond. I hope, guys, as you're listening to this from the Influencer Empires program, you're understanding that there's a lot of, I guess, capital that can be generated by the philosophy of gifting. That's why we wanted Sarah to come on and tell us all about it. Sarah, thank you so much for the opportunity to understand the philosophy behind John's teaching, the amazing power, and I guess the even just the story about the cleaners and everything in the home, and making sure that that's something that is engaged into the team can really show the power of those relationships moving forward. Sarah, I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. And guys, make sure you're getting into giftology and checking it all out. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Walt.